Peace, blessings, much respect, much love. It's your boy, the Ghetto Guru, a.k.a. Shango, coming back with another spiritual message. Hope all is well with y'all. Hope you're having a good day. If not, I hope the rest of your day gets better. But I got two messages for y'all, so I'm going to get straight into the first one. So this first one is going to be titled, If You Feel a Certain Lane is Oversaturated with People, it's because there's a lot of imposters in certain positions. If you feel like a certain lane is oversaturated, then that's because there's a lot of imposters in those positions. What do I mean? Let me explain. So, a lot of times you'll hear people say when they're talking about different lanes, and when I say lanes, I mean certain career paths, or not even just career paths, but callings rather. I would say callings and life purpose paths. You will hear a lot of people say, this lane is oversaturated with people, or this lane is, has too many people in it, or too many people doing this, or too many people doing that. And when you hear people say that, it could discourage somebody from doing what God and the universe and ancestors is telling them to do. And, that can take you off your path if you do listen to that and you don't follow what's in your heart and you don't follow what's in your soul and where you're being navigated to go towards and where you're being directed to go towards. Sometimes it's just something that's in you. Like I said, God has put it in you to do certain things, and you know that you're being directed to do it, but the outside noise and the people can discourage you from going towards that calling, because they will tell you like, there's already enough people doing that, or we have enough people already doing music, or we already have enough people doing podcasting, and it could be many different lanes, and whatever, apply it to whatever your calling is and whatever your life purpose is that you want to pursue. But you've been hearing people tell you that a lot lately, and you've been going back and forth with yourself about whether you should do it or not. And I'm here to tell you the download that I got is the reason why we see a lot of lanes and a lot of paths that's our calling oversaturated with people is because there's a lot of imposters in those positions. I spoke about this last month in a few videos, talking about how there's going to be a lot of imposters getting exposed from copying people, taking from people, and just being imposters and not really presenting who they really are, and they're doing certain things for the wrong reasons. And that's really taking the spots of the people that's supposed to be destined to have those spots. So the download that I got is that's the reason why you see a lot of oversaturation rather in certain lanes. It's not because there's no place for you to fit in, or there's no place for you to be in that lane, in that calling. It's because there's people that have taken those spots that are imposters. The reason why the imposters have took those spots is because a lot of us answered the call in our callings too late. Not saying that it's too late that you can't pursue it and you can't make it happen. It's never too late. But I'm saying we answered the calling so late, and that's the reason why these people were able to slip into these positions. We see it all the time in the world. There's many people that run certain positions or run certain fields, or they own certain companies or certain factories, or all these enterprises and corporations. Those are the big words I was looking for. Thank you, God. We see this all the time on a big stage, and excuse me, I had something in my eye. A lot of times it can make you wonder, like, if I'm doing the wrong thing, am I doing the right thing? Am I pursuing the right path that I'm supposed to? I see everybody else getting more than what I'm getting, and I'm putting in the time and the effort, the blood, sweat, and the tears and everything, and I'm not seeing the results. And it could get you down sometimes. It could make you, it could discourage you a lot of times from continuing on that path, because we're human. We always looking for immediate results, so that makes sense. But the reason why is because a lot of us didn't answer the call soon enough, so this is why imposters were able to take those seats that were empty. Thank you, God. That's what I just heard just now. These were specific assigned seats. I just got this analogy just now. Picture, we all went to concerts or plays or wherever, anywhere where you bought a ticket to and you had assigned seats, or even in class. It could be class, so you had assigned seats. And somebody, if you don't come soon enough for something, there's always somebody that try to take your seat or try to sit there because they think nobody's coming and nobody's going to question in the morning. And then when you get there, you're like, this is my seat. And then you got to get up. And you'll see the face on these people sometimes, like they're mad at you when they already knew that was somebody else's assigned seat. But this is what happens when people think, because you didn't show up quick enough, we can take that spot and nobody's going to question us. It's the same thing when we see people in certain lanes and there's a lot of people and it feels like it's oversaturated with people doing it. That's because there were a certain amount of people that had assigned seats in that lane, in that calling, in that light path, but they didn't answer the call as soon as they should. So when a seat is left open, people are going to try to take that spot and they're going to try to claim it as theirs. That's why I use the analogy of concerts, tickets, even assigned seats in class. If you don't come quick enough, people are going to try to take your seat. And they'll act like that's their assigned seat. But if you come and catch them and you put them on the spot about it, like I said about the imposters, sirens is confirmation all the time. If you see them and you question that imposter, they'll get an attitude with you. They'll be upset with you because you're calling them out and they have to move because you have the authority and the right to that seat. Same way you pay for that seat, or even if it wasn't about a payment, if it was a assigned seat, you have the authority and the right of that position in that spot and that's in that seat. So they have no choice but to get up and give it back to you. So those are some of the reasons why, if you've been going through that lately, whoever this message is for, those are some of the reasons why you see that happening in certain lanes or happening to you. And that's because, like I said, the oversaturation in those lanes is one, because those are imposters and they're being frauds and they're pretending like they have the right to that position, but they really don't. And the only reason why they have those seats because the people that were supposed to be in those assigned seats, they didn't show up when they were supposed to. Like I said, that doesn't mean that it's too late, that you're never going to get in that seat, but you were supposed to sit in that seat a long time ago. And why did it take you so long? Because procrastination, thinking too much, getting in your own head, finding reasons in your head to tell yourself that you shouldn't do it or why you can't do it or why it won't work for you. But these are all things that delay the process and delay us into doing certain things when we're supposed to do it. God could have told you to do something 5 years ago and you still ain't do it because you found every reason why in the book that you shouldn't do it, why it won't work, why you even think that you have the confidence to do it. It could be many different things, but these things we don't realize when we doing these things, we are talking ourselves out of position. Thank you, God. We all have certain missions in life. We all got certain light paths and certain callings in life, but a lot of us don't answer the call. That's why they say many are called, but few's going to answer the call. But it's the reason why they say that, because a lot of people don't step up to the plate to answer that calling. So many are called, few are chosen, rather. Thank you, God. That's the reason why you hear that. Because like I said, many people don't step up to the plate and they don't step up to their assigned position. And a lot of times when you don't do that, somebody else will take your spot. Somebody else will take your seat. And a lot of people watch people take those positions and they become bitter in life. They become very angry in life because they're watching somebody else do something that they know they could do, and they know that they could do it better than that person, or they know that person doesn't deserve that position. And we see that in our everyday life. There's many people in the world or in our personal life that have certain positions and titles that we know they don't deserve, and we wonder all the time, like, how did they get in that position? How did they get to that point? How did they get that title? They didn't put in no work. They didn't deserve that. They don't have the credentials and all that. And that's because of everything I just was talking about. It's because a lot of us didn't answer the call and we didn't answer it soon enough. So when you don't answer it soon enough and that seat is open, somebody else is going to take that position. And a lot of times it's going to be people that don't deserve that position because that's not their assigned seat. Their assigned seat is somewhere else. But what happens with imposters, they always want to take the place of somebody else's life. They always want to take the position and the title of somebody else's calling. And that's happens a lot between people and humans because a lot of people are envious, a lot of people are jealous, and a lot of people don't know how to find their own niche and don't know how to find their own calling to do what they know how to do best. Because a lot of people watch what others do and they wish that they could do it themselves, and instead of them finding something that they're greater at and they're better at, they want to take other people's position. And we see that a lot of times even when people are in their assigned seats, we see people wanting to take them out of that position because of the jealousy, because of the anger, and because of the envy and the bitterness. They'll even resort to even harming people. We see that plenty of times with people that were on the rise. They were in their assigned seat. By assigned seat, I mean their calling, the seat that they were assigned to by God, the universe, and the ancestors as soon as they were born on this planet. And people will become so jealous and envy of these people that they're willing to take their life. Even strangers that don't even know these people, they're willing to take their life because they're looking through the lens. They're looking at this person through a lens of envy and jealousy, and not realizing that these are a specific assigned seats to these people for a reason, and they have their own specific assigned seat as well. Maybe they didn't figure it out yet, and that causes a lot of tension and frustration between humans as well, because they see others in their calling and they're mad at themselves. They'll project it onto the person like they're mad at them, but they're really not mad at them. They're mad at themselves because they don't know how to get to their calling. They don't know how to get to their assigned seat and their position of life of power and respect. And when you don't know that and you lack direction, you get frustrated. And a lot of people don't know how to be vulnerable enough to admit that they don't know where they're headed. A lot of people pretend in life, and this is why you have imposters in certain positions that act like they were chosen to be in those assigned seats for that calling, but they really weren't. So you can only pretend and you can only do being an imposter rather for so long before the people catch on. Some people might get away with it for a few years, but there's always going to be a point where they're going to get exposed because they're not supposed to be in that assigned seat. So if you just going through that and you've been wondering about that lately, about it's a lot of people in that lane, I don't know if I should do it, it's enough people, don't get caught up in that. Because if God, the universe, and ancestors are telling you to do it and they put it in your heart and soul to do a certain thing, and that's your life path and your calling, do it. And the only reason, that doesn't mean that you're not going to make an impact in that lane. That doesn't mean that you're not going to make a difference in that lane because you feel like there's a lot of people already in there. Because like I said, when you see oversaturation in a certain lane, that doesn't mean that it's too packed where you're not going to be good enough for it. That means that there's a lot of imposters in there and they're taking certain people positions, not because those people that were called to have those seats don't deserve it anymore, but because they took so long to sit in their assigned seat that God's been telling them to get in for the longest. So it's not too late for you. You just have to go and just finally pursue that thing and get in position and take your seat back. Just like I said in class or in a concert or a play or whatever, when you got the assigned seats or you buy a ticket for a certain seat, if you don't come, somebody's gonna always try to take that seat. You see that all the time because your seat might be further in the front. You might have the better seat. It could be many things, but you have to come and claim your spot because you have the right and the ownership to have that assigned seat because it was your birthright from the beginning of time since you was born on this planet. So just remember that. The oversaturation in certain lanes is not there to discourage you and tell you that you can't make an impact on that lane. It's because there's a lot of imposters that need to be taken out of those positions because that was never their position in the first place. So just remember that. So peace, blessings, much respect, much love. I love y'all. Always keep doing your thing. Stay focused, stay goal-oriented. And like I always say, whether we run, whether we jog, whether we sprint or crawl, because life is hard. Because life is that hard sometimes that you can't run, you can't jog, you can't sprint. Only thing you could do sometimes is crawl to that destination. But like I always say, somehow, some way, we got to make it to our destination someday. So peace, blessings, much respect, much love. I love you always. I appreciate the support. Subscribe, like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on, and I'm going to see y'all in the second video. Peace.